Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is most unexpected, and this video marks the beginning of a new series. In this series, I will be presenting and explaining ideas for Destiny. Now I know that this is a very different content to my typical Dark Souls content, and for that I apologize. Although, I would like to remind viewers that I never promised that my channel would be exclusively about the Souls series. This series will be the culmination of many of my ideas and other Destiny players for improvements, additions, and changes I would like to see in the game, Destiny, and ultimately the series and franchise as a whole, which one day it will be. Originally, I was just going to put all these ideas on paper and mail it to Bungie. Then I decided I could get across more information if I emailed them. Then I decided that the best way to articulate myself would be to make descriptive videos of my ideas, then notify Bungie in as many ways as I can. Now, in order for this series to work at its best, I would appreciate every single ounce of support. The more attention and support these ideas have, the better the odds that I'll grab Bungie's attention, and that these ideas could eventually make it into the game, or at the very least inspire other content. So again, if you find any of these ideas in the slightest way appealing, please like, favorite, subscribe, comment, or show your friends, because the more support this gets, the better chance these ideas can become reality. So now that the introductions are out of the way, let's move on to the first idea that will take up the rest of this video. I decided for the first idea that I would start with something that is simple and easy to understand, at least on paper. And hopefully it'll be easier to understand in this video. Something that would leave me completely awestruck if Bungie did not already look into making this. Exotic Dual Sidearms. So far, Destiny has only had one exotic sidearm, Jeg's Promise, which is less than appealing to most players' eyes. The dual sidearms, one sidearm in each hand, would take the special slot. And it is easiest to imagine this weapon as being made by Tex Mechanica, because they make all the cool hand cannon sort of things, and hopefully sidearm in this circumstance. Which means the equipping animation could very fittingly use a fancy animation like the other Tex Mechanica weapons. Inspiration for the dual sidearms would likely come from old Western films, as they often do, such as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, directed by George Roy Hill and released on October 24th, 1969, and video games such as the Call of Duty series. Dual wielding is commonly considered to be right at home in old westerns, and for dual sidearms, this would work perfectly for Tex Mechanica. Essentially, the player would be given double the ammunition of standard firearms and be able to shoot twice as fast because they have one gun in each hand, at least in theory. But in all honesty, being able to carry two sidearms would be enough to warrant use of this exotic just to feel badass. Luckily for us, the use of two pistols has already been incorporated into games such as Call of Duty. That gives the players double the firepower and damage of just one pistol, but the cost of accuracy. But for all the good Call of Duty provides with showing us how gunplay with two pistols works in video games, it does have a significant drawback which I would think to be unworthy of the masterful and tight gunplay controls of Destiny. This drawback would be the fact that each gun is fired separately and thus functions like two different entities. You can exhaust the ammo in one, reload only that one, and do the same with the other. Because the guns are anchored to two separate buttons to shoot, there's no button left over for aiming. Now I know that some of you might be saying, "But that was a gameplay mechanic that you sacrificed for extra power. Call of Duty knows what it is doing." And you are right, but there are better ways to incorporate dual wielding pistols into video games, at least in my opinion. To help show how the dual wielding formula and mechanics could be improved upon, we call upon Star Wars Bounty Hunter. In this game, you play as the infamous bounty hunter Jango Fett, and learn how awesome he really is. He even holsters his weapons in the Tex Mechanica fashion.
Dead or alive, Miko.
The main weapons Django uses in this game are his trusty twin blasters, which he uses one in each hand. But the thing is, in this game, there's but only one shoot button for the two guns Django is holding in each hand. When the shoot button is activated repeatedly, Django fires one shot from his right blaster, and then next from his left, and then back to right. The guns trade off as the player mashes the fire button in a very seamless manner, allowing Django to realign his next shot with the right blaster as he fires his left. This game also helps me articulate how aiming could work for dual pistols in Destiny. In Star Wars Bounty Hunter, the player is in a third-person view as they control Django's crazy aimbot. The player barely has to point to shoot, yet the gunplay works surprisingly well. Now don't get me wrong, the dual sidearms would still be used in first person in Destiny, and would not have aimbot. But let's take a closer look at the dual blasters in Star Wars Bounty Hunter again. Here we can see that Django is clearly lining up his shots, even though he's using two pistol-like weapons. In this mode, the blasters have no aimbot, but are highly accurate at all ranges. This gives me my best idea of how aiming could work for an exotic dual sidearms. After swapping to the special slot, two pistols would be gracefully pulled from their holsters and spun in the old western Tex Mechanica fashion. The player would normally hip-fire his or her two sidearms, one shot after the other, as fast as they could pull the single trigger. But if they wanted better control and accuracy, they could temporarily sacrifice mobility and sensitivity, just like aiming in with any other weapon. And the player model would lift up his or her arms in front of their body and give the player a clearer idea of where his or her shots will land. Once both pistols had expunged their ammo in both magazines, then the automatic reload would take place, if the player did not already activate the reload with the reload button. Well, that is my first idea to pitch to Bungie for Destiny. If you think this is a good idea for an exotic weapon, even in the smallest way, please help out this video with a like. If you have any suggestions or questions, please do not hesitate to comment. And if commenting isn't enough for you, I've made a Twitter account lately which you can follow at Most Unexpected. That is at M, the M is capital, OST, then 2 underscores, then a capital U, followed by NXPCTD. Thanks for watching.